day, everyone. I am Matt Harrison, and you are listening to the GiriCast, the Malaga fan podcast on Sport Direct Radio and as part of the Sports Social Podcast Network. It is the final countdown for Malaga. Finally, this season is coming to an end, as we are now 3 days away from the game that will decide whether Malaga will play in the third or second tier next season. Malaga go into the second leg of their Primera Federación playoff final, slightly on top thanks to a 2-1 win in the first leg against Nastic. We will, of course, preview our upcoming decisive second leg on this episode, as well as reviewing that Saturday night in a vociferous La Rosaleda. And speaking of vociferous, here's a man who may be over 1,000 kilometers away from Tarragona this coming Saturday, but I have no doubt he'll be cheering on the team as vociferously as anyone. Is my co-host for this evening, Nick Bell. How are you, Nick?
I am not doing too badly. Thank you very much, Matt. How are you?
I am good. I have no sort of Euro stress this time. Obviously, you do. We're a couple of hours away from a Scotland kickoff as well, aren't we?
We are. So I'm gladly, if you're not watching on YouTube, sporting a beautiful Scotland shirt this evening. Basically, we've got to put the Swiss away. That's what Scotland have got to do tonight. After that humbling we got against the hosts last Friday in front of the world.
Yeah, as I just said to you, nobody gets romantic about the Swiss, do they? So come on, Scotland. Anyway, I won't stress you out with more Scotland talk or fire you up. I don't know. Maybe you're quite calm.
The hype has hit me again, to be fair. I'm believing again now. So I was at work this afternoon and I was like full on, of course we can beat the Swiss. Anyone can beat the Swiss. Completely forgetting they've already won 3-0 in this tournament, but who cares? We can do it.
Let's move away from Euro fever then back to our weeks, it seems, of playoff fever. It's not gone away. Just this season, I did the other podcast with my brother last night, and we joked on that about this. I'm still going. I shouldn't be watching league football in the last week of June, but here we are, and I guess I'm happy to be here because Malaga are in a playoff final. We're going to basically do this show in two halves. We're going to do a review of the game that's just happened, and then we'll preview what we hope will happen maybe this coming weekend. So I suppose we'll start at the beginning again. I know you were there for the Celta Fortuna game and the Recibimiento. Very much the same script again for Malaga. Let's get everyone outside the stadium again. It was chaos again. A little bit more packed together because they did have a fence up I think ostensibly because there was a band marching down the street, which was great. They were really good fun. And, they played the hymno and some of the chants. There was a part of me that did think, maybe they've used this band as an excuse to put the fence up so the bus is not as, doesn't get assaulted. Well, it was not really assaulted, wasn't it? It was getting aggressive love. And then the police give just aggression back to some fans. But there probably are some health and safety reasons why thousands of people shouldn't be around a bus as well. But so the Rendimiento is a little bit more contained in some sense. But, I'm sure you saw the images, Nick. It's all crazy.
Well, it still looked great. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, it's one thing to get yourself up for it to go around once again. It's another thing to get yourself up for it for a second time for a first leg as well. That's the thing that sort of like strikes me is that, this isn't a playoff final like we know it or we would usually know it. It's not walking down like Wembley Way or going to a host nation stadium and getting it all out of the way in one big go. You've got to, just as you said before, keep just psyching yourself up for embracing the excitement and the and the spirit of it all. But even with the fans, I thought Malaga fans did themselves very, very well, like you say. And you're probably right. There's probably some poor bugger got his foot run over by the coach last week, so health and safety got involved in, and they're going, well, we need a fence now, boys. We need a fence.
Yeah, it's and also we should add to that as well. Not only like you said, it's getting people G'd up again, and it's a first leg. Spain were playing at the same time as well, so that actually helped in a weird way because there was no doubt in my mind that Malaga fans were going to choose Malaga over the Spain game. But when Spain did score, the party started because obviously they were 2-0 up quite quickly, so there was people in the recibimiento watching on their phones, and yeah, it sort of added an extra texture to proceedings, I guess. And just, I don't know, I think you're saying about getting yourself G'd up all week. I've sort of been trying to ignore it. My throat is still not quite right, and I don't feel very well, and I'm pretty sure it's from putting myself through these playoffs, but I'm still going. There's tougher jobs out there.
Yeah, I was ill the week after the Celta Fortuna game, and I generally put it down to exhaustion. I think that game, I think we all just put ourselves out there and gave it all. But I can see from this one as well, the big thing I take away from it, Matt, is that as much as maybe I would say that the Celta Fortuna recibimiento was a bit more chaotic because it wasn't controlled, but certainly in the stadium this time, it seemed a lot more animated than when we were there, and we were pretty animated. Tranquillo, you know what I mean?
Well, that's sadly become my catchphrase now. It's I didn't help myself playing the hits because they were just, for those that don't know, there's a gang behind us who I kept telling tranquilo when we equalized against Celta Fortuna, and as soon as I took my seat this time, they're like, hey, tranquilo. So when we scored the first one, I did sort of do tranquilo. But yeah, like you said, there was a little bit, the attendance was a little bit higher, but of course there was more Tarragona fans in there. But yeah, there wasn't much different really. But it was bouncing again. I can't remember what they did for the first leg. Sorry, the second leg of the second leg of the semi-final. They did some like crappy mosaic, didn't they? And it was quite crap. But this one was a little bit more tidy.
Yeah. We had the paper on the seats, but we mainly used it for making paper airplanes.
They got the stripes for this one, didn't they? It looked a bit better.
It looked really good from the photos that I've seen afterwards and what I saw on the screen as well. So, I think probably what's lent itself to this is that even though it was the playoff semi-final second leg, you're right, that is a bunch of words, that, isn't it? You were still playing Celta Fortuna, do you know what I mean? Whereas this it's against, Nastic de Tarragona. They're a big club. We've seen they're a bit of a nasty bastard club as well. So, you wanted to get up for it more. You wanted to be on top of them, didn't you?
Feels like a proper game, this one. Just quickly on the atmosphere, perhaps before we talk about the game. I have done a Vamos episode. I think we'll try and get it out maybe the day before the second leg, just as a bit of a get us fired up. And I think I might have him on recording. There's a Norwegian guy sitting next to me this time. I'd swapped you for a Norwegian brand fan. And I said to him, like, what do you think of all this? And he said, I feel like I'm in South America. I don't know. South America. Yeah. I think he said he'd been to watch. He was a ground hopper. I think he'd been to like Buenos Aires and stuff. So that was... So, and even I was like to him then, like, whoa, tranquilo. But anyway, let's talk about the football. I'll be honest with you. I think, again, I did not listen back to the Vamos recordings, but I had a few people on before, and obviously we did the usual, who do you think should be in the starting lineup? And pretty much everyone was in agreement that there was no need to change. And, Kevin got mentioned a lot, but I suppose he was the big sort of... change in the team. He came in for La Rubia, and then obviously Einar came in after impressive semi-final second leg, and Joaquin came in for Puga. Any thoughts on the changes?
Yeah, I thought the two aforementioned, Kevin and Einar, were to be expected. You can't not be rewarded for your antics in the second leg and not get into the final game there, especially Einar. Kevin less so, but Kevin brought more to the second leg, in my opinion, than La Rubia did. So it's good to see that Pellicer is happy to reward the players who are, really taking it to the next level in this part of the competition.
Yeah, and I guess as long, Kevin's been up and down, certainly second half of the season, arguably more down at times, but if Perisic says to him, just do what you did last week. Don't worry about losing the ball. Like, be brave. And yeah, I think he carried on where he left off last week, I think, to be honest with you. But Kevin's my favorite player. He's certainly not Malaga's best player, because Malaga's best player was in action in the first minute. I'll just say my bit on this here. So obviously, Nastic break pretty much from the start, go through on goal, nice passing moves. I can't remember who ends up on their arse. I think it might be Einar, where they skip past him and they shoot a goal and close range. And to be honest with you, like, the save was amazing, but there was so little reaction to it. I was like, oh, it must have been offside or something. It was only really when I saw the replays back the next day, I was like, oh wow, it wasn't offside. Because I don't know, everyone seemed so calm about it. Like, oh yeah, he saved that. But I think it was one of his best ones.
Well, absolutely. I think maybe we've become accustomed to him a bit too much, because we're just thinking, it'd be fine. But it was certainly a bit of a wake-up call straight away, in the opening knock-ins to find, a man, 8 yards from goal, 7 yards from goal, maybe, with so much time and space to take a shot off.
Essentially, you could argue it was like a penalty from closer range.
Pretty much, yeah. Because, like I say, he wasn't being pressured, was he? At all. He was there to have his shot taken against him, and Herrera's done brilliantly to come out and make himself big. And he gets, I think it's his leg to it, isn't it, that he just sort of deflects off. But it kind of sets the tone again, doesn't it? If you're a striker and you're in that position and you're like, bloody, I've got a fucking great chance from the get-go, and you miss it, I'm thinking about that all game. Herrera was in his head straight away, but it's time and time again that he's done this season. The spectacular, the necessary. And for me, I think you said it, Matt, how have we got Alfonso Herrera? How is he playing for Malaga in the third tier of Spain?
Well, you've said the spectacular, the necessary. We should perhaps add in the ridiculous as well. He has scored a goal as well. So he has done everything. And actually, in this game, that was obviously his highlight reel. But he had a few great saves after this as well. Like, there's that one that was quite ways at full stretch to tip around the post. But apart from they had that chance at the start, and they were certainly dangerous. I thought we responded quite well to that, and I thought we were the better team in the first half and the opening stages.
Yeah, I think there's probably two sides to that. From what I saw, is that I think we needed to get a grip on the game straight away. I think, like you said, when you've got 29,000 Malaga fans in a stadium, and you wanting to set the tone, it's your leg, it's your time to dictate. So I thought we did really well on that. I thought Manu Molina in particular did really well to sort of really transverse everything and set the tone and just pass it around and knock it around and things like that. But I also think Nastic are also a side that are quite happy to let you have the ball as well. I found that they're quite happy to sit back and defend when they need to and let you have it as long as you're not doing anything with it. Does that make sense? So
yeah, really, yeah.
So I think we looked great, but I think they were allowing us to look better than maybe we were in the opening stages.
Yeah, like I've got it in my notes here that it was Manu Molina was the one that was ticking us over, and making it. You do make a good point actually, which I perhaps hadn't thought about much. Perhaps the reason he did look so good is because they weren't pressuring him, because he's perhaps a slightly deeper creative midfielder. Yeah, but I think. Again, we've just mentioned him, and maybe I don't know if his Payas's plan, but with Kevin as well, I think he was quite a useful player in the start. Just for we've joked all season that he's a vibes man, but he was the one getting the stadium sort of rocking when he was sort of running at them, and there's that one where he got tripped, and I thought it was a really good first half in general, and certainly one that I think it's definitely the best Manu Molina's played since. Those first couple of months of 2024 where we were sort of talking about the play of the season. This was absolutely one of his best performances. He was excellent.
Yeah, definitely.
They all were actually in the midfield. I don't think too many let us down, but we should perhaps mention as well, we should have had a penalty, shouldn't we? Quite in the first 15 minutes, Roberto. What do you think?
Yeah. Stonewall. I had a text message on Twitter come through pretty much straight away from Liam from the Spanish Segunda show, and he basically just said, "You've been robbed." There, that should is a Stonewall, and I think moreover the fact that he just sort of like collapses on top of his legs, and he's like, well, he can't get out of that. Do you know what I mean?
He doesn't just collapse, does he? He like flicks a leg up to like make more contact, I thought. But
and I just think in that kind of scenario, it's like, well, I don't care if there's no VAR or not. The referee was in a good position to look at it as well. He was quick to wave it away. You just think, well, why? That was a big thing for me. Is like, how is that not a penalty? In what interpretation of the law would you say that's not a penalty? But
yeah. I'd argue we probably should have had 3 penalties, and I think he got the hardest one. He gave the hardest one probably, but we'll get on to that. There's a few chances. There was sort of that lovely back heel flick, and I've written down here is from Roberto, but I didn't check that. I'm pretty sure it was. That was a shame that didn't go in towards the end of the half, and yeah, it did look like it was going to be 0-0. And to be honest with you, I didn't realize exactly what had happened till after the game, why Nastic players were protesting so much about the goal, but I have zero sympathy for them protesting about the goal. All I saw was the ball whipped in like with a really aggressive corner, actually. I think it was Molina, like took off the floor. He curled it so much, and Roberto headers it in. And again, like a sort of weird header where he sort of headed it down. And I don't know, it's like the goalie panicked and fell over. It's a strange goal. But of course, the controversy is that one of their players, I think it was Alan Godoy, picked the ball up and tried to put a second ball on the pitch to stop us. And I think, I don't know, maybe in a VAR world, they would have stopped that and booked him and stopped the goal. Maybe that would have been the rule book way to follow it. But the ref must have seen it, and I think he showed common sense. Yeah,
well, Godoy, is showing himself to be a bit of a shithouse in this game, and from what I saw in the semi-finals as well against Ceuta, he was kind of in the ears of the Ceuta players as well. So this kind of antics, it's like you just said, it probably what it deserved. In terms of actually what is going to worse punish you, the fact that you're not concentrating and picking up your position, especially at that near post where you'd expect a player like Godoy to be, then you'd go, well, if you weren't messing around and chucking balls on the pitch, Roberto wouldn't be able to make that run. But Roberto is bound to be your man. Do you know what I mean? And as for the run from Roberto, it was refreshing to see sort of like that knuckleball into the near post. We usually go quite deep looking for an Ainor or a Juande or a Monte at the back post. So this was very unusual for Malaga, but clearly it paid off, and very good goal from Roberto as well. Well taken.
Yeah, it's like, again, it's sort of, I still don't understand the goalie, because like it's that classic of you're taught to head the ball down, and he headed it like so hard it like bounced up really quickly. But I still think the goalie could have done a bit better with it. I haven't seen it too many times, I'll be honest with you. But
yeah. I think from this they've generally caught Nastic sleeping. I think that they're looking for the ball to be taken off the pitch, and the referee's just gone crack on. Yeah. Maybe not similar to what if you remember that Trent Alexander-Arnold and Divock Origi goal. I'm not saying it's the same as that, but when you catch a team asleep and you can really take advantage, it certainly worked out in our favour anyway. And I think what a great time to score as well. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? The roof absolutely fucking came off the place, didn't it? And just before half time is just, it's perfection.
Yeah, and then I guess we go to the other side of half time. Not a great time to concede, because obviously in the 46th minute they do get an equalizer through David Concha, who I decided I quite liked because the mountain in Marbella is called La Concha. So, but well, I don't like him now, but I liked his name. To be honest with you, I literally, I don't know, I think I was still buzzing off the first half goal. I'd been down to say hello to Juan Alejo, the Petrimorde. So I was just in a nice, happy, jolly mood. And then I looked up just as I saw the ball like arcing into the far corner. I was like, oh, didn't expect that.
No, it was a very good goal from Concha as well. And of all the players on the pitch for Nastic, he was the one I actually thought. Not only did he have a great game, but secondly, he was kind of like he wasn't really getting into this shithousery. I'm gonna, be rough with you type thing. He came to play, didn't he? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to say, I was trying to think of, like I've just said, there's the mountain in Marbella. He was at his peak in this game. But actually, Concha, I think, means shell. So I should probably be going for shell puns.
Yeah, well, he certainly wasn't a shell of himself in this game, but
he
was like.
Anyway.
And his goal was really good. And as we know, it takes a lot to beat Herrero. It takes quality to beat Herrero as well. So, the way he managed to sort of find himself with, again, rightly or wrongly, space in the box, to bend it around Herrero like that, it's a very good finish. And it's just kind of opposite to what I've just said. It's, as you've already said, it's a shit time to concede because then they've got another, 44 minutes to go and try and find another.
But arguably, I think, taking a step back now and watching the highlights back, I sort of go, oh, well, if you're a neutral, I think this was probably a really, really good game to watch. But the thing I perhaps was, because I don't think we've been great at it all year. We've not been awful, but perhaps the thing I was most impressed with us about is how we responded to that, because we didn't panic. And actually, I was like, all right, okay, I actually fancied us to score a second goal. I don't know. Did you have that same tranquilo feeling? Or?
Yeah, tranquilo. It'll all be fine. I think it's the story of our playoff campaign.
True.
We kind of came into the playoffs sort of, it was highlighted to us from Luke the other day that I think we'd only lost twice or something since January, I think he said. Yeah. Obviously, lots of draws in there, but we'd never, even when we'd conceded, late on in games or, when we're drawing games, things like that, we never really went for it, to try and get the win. We always were very placid in the second half of the season in those things. And to a point where we were starting to say, he's Pace the man that we need. Whereas in the playoffs, it's kind of demonstrates to me that, well, yeah, actually, we've got that cutting edge. We've got the ability to go after a game and grab one back or take the initiative again and things like that. So, it was good to see us react to, this particular goal as well.
Yeah, it's funny the stat Luke put up. I think I, in my head, tweaked it a little bit, and I've not checked this, but it's quite fun if I'm right off the top of my head. I think in 2024, we've lost 3 games, and only one of them is on the Spanish mainland because in the enclaves. We're not very good in the enclaves.
No. Yeah.
So we definitely
don't travel well to Africa.
No, they always say that about Malaga.
Must be the boat.
Yeah. We do. Well, the boat bit was fun. Anyway, we did get a penalty, as we said we perhaps should have had one earlier. Obviously, this was up the other end of the pitch to where I stand on this night, definitely. But even I straight away, I think that's a pen, and I don't think you see them given that often, even when they are so obvious. So I was quite happy with the ref because he was positioned well, wasn't he? We got lucky that he was standing right behind it, really.
Yeah, it's not often you see one for a shirt pull, which is essentially what this was. It was a severe shirt pull. But the fact of the matter is that the way, as I described earlier, we tend to go deep on corners and aim for a man at the back post. I know I was getting readied to either crack himself or put it back into the box for somebody else to have a knockdown. It's a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity, in my eyes anyway. So the fact that they managed to pull that back and, have the penalty, then the referee's absolutely nailed it for me. It's a stonewall. And this is, again, things that Nastic will look at when it comes to their shithousery, as I keep mentioning, saying, well, there's no really any need for them to do that there. They could quite as easily guide Einar off the ball there. It's not creating too much danger in order to rip his shirt off his back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to perhaps talk about further Nastic shithousery. that happened after the game, ahead of the second leg. But maybe we'll talk about that shortly, because we've definitely got to talk about Roberto's penalty here, which I had my head in my hands, but I was peeking through my fingers, and I was like, oh no, he's missed. And the stadium went mad. I was like, how's that gone in? Like, the goalie was at full stretch. As I realized he must have had it in off the post, which he pretty much did. That just absolutely, literally 10 out of 10 perfect penalty, really.
Absolutely, especially when you go down low, you need to really slot it within that perfect 2 inches in between the goalkeeper's glove and the post. And you know, it's a great penalty, and again, a sign of Roberto's confidence at the minute. You know, we've obviously praised Jesus Di Miguel and Pau Victor for finishing top of the charts, but you know, this is what, 4 goals in the playoffs for Roberto now, which takes him up to 20.
Yeah, I meant to check this actually. Like, is he the top goal scorer now? I know he's played more games, but
I think Pau Victor got a couple in the last game against Ibiza, didn't he? I think he got one in Ibiza, and he got one at the is it the Johan Cruyff Arena? I can never quite remember the name.
Yeah, this is Stadi Johan Cruyff.
Johan.
Oh no, I don't know, because the arena's the Amsterdam one, isn't it? But I think it is named after Cruyff. Yeah, because
it's definitely got a Cruyff in there. I couldn't remember which one it was, but
this was a Platini played for Kuwait question. How many people in the world have 2 stadiums named after them? There can't be many. I think Maradona we thought might have 2, but we never researched that. So answers on a postcard.
Definitely. So I think he might be just ahead of him if we're including playoff goals as well. And obviously, they've had their game against Cordoba as well, but he didn't score there. So we'll see what he does this weekend.
Yeah, I think he could have had another penalty as well. Perhaps I take it back. Perhaps this one was lesser so, whereas Kevin whipped in a cross and he got held back again.
Yeah,
you know, tough one to give, but it could have.
I think the only thing that went against Roberto here, looking back on the replays, is that he kind of chucked himself out a little bit more. He made it look a bit more dramatic than it needed to be, because he was definitely being, impinged, and the players grappling all over the back of his legs, and he's kind of then decided, I'm going to go down, but instead of falling gracefully to the floor like you would do naturally, he's kind of then gone, like he's been shot in the back and things like that. So again, in my eyes, would have been a penalty, but I think he's sold the referee the doubt he needed not to give it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'd like to say I think Pellicer's subs were good again in this playoff game. I think they all offered something. That, I'm not saying like we completely nullified Nastic, but in a tense game, which was back and forth, I thought they all did themselves pretty proud. Would you agree?
Yeah, especially Sangali was the one for me. I think going into that midfield and basically trying to stake a claim, I thought Sangali played really, really well. La Rubia coming on with 10 minutes to go, just in allowing us to rest players. But again, I don't think he didn't cover himself in shame. I thought he contributed. And even Juande coming on for 2 minutes,
Yeah. And actually, we didn't mention Juande went off at half-time because he was booked. I think Nelson was responded well to what I'm guessing is him being dropped. And actually, I know we've mentioned him, and I mention him all the time, but the La Rubia coming on for Kevin thing, I did think at the time in the stadium, like he was going to get applause here, and he probably needs that. Just might be, if he's going to play the second leg and he's gone off to that, I thought, he'll like that.
Yeah, he definitely will. He definitely will.
But yeah, we sort of held out. Roberto could have obviously finished them off at the end. I don't quite know what happened there. It looked like a good tackle, to be fair, but it looked like half a tackle, half of him putting his foot on the ball. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think he just didn't manage to get his foot onto it more than anything. And obviously they could have had a penalty as well, potentially.
Yeah.
With their play being brought down, not too dissimilar to the shirt pull, but I think it was a bit more, again, their players giving the referees reason to doubt it because he's throwing himself on the floor. So, I applaud the ref for that, but we need to be careful in our own 18-yard box when the they're quite happy to employ the dark arts.
Yeah, indeed. And there you go. That was Malaga 2-1. Of course, stadium absolutely bouncing at the end. You know, we went back to Baramanas. I had Pacharan. It was, I say we. No one would have Pacharan with me, weirdly, this time. It was just me by myself, just like, oh, I have nobody to do. What do points mean? It was a strange feeling. Maybe people were reserving their energy for the big push.
Tranquilo.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone else was tranquilo this time. But let's go into our Chumbo and Biznagas then. Let's start with Chumbo. I'm going to be honest with you, this is very difficult.
I kind of don't want to give a Chumbo because it was hard. Don't get me wrong. I think, you know, maybe you could say, well, one day came off half time, he had a yellow card, you know, but it wasn't that he played badly. He just didn't play as well as everybody else. But yeah, I really can't think of someone to give a Chumbo with because it just
the only other one I thought he was great after this, but we're just finding excuses. Hinaro gave the ball away a little bit for their goal, but he was fine.
Yeah,
I was going to give it to Juande just for that reason. So, you know, that's pretty much not giving it to no one. You were fine, Juande. But actually, more I think about it now, I said that's difficult. Biznaga, I think there's one clear one, but I don't know. I'm quite interested to see who you pick here first. I've got mine written down.
Well, I think we all know who is going to be the Biznaga in this one, but there are so many honourable mentions in this that it'd probably be easy to tell you who's been dishonourable. You know, obviously you can put Herrero for his heroics once again. I thought Kevin played really well. Ferrero played really well, especially going after half time.
Yeah,
he was really good. Manu Molina was exceptional once again, and that's who I'd ordinarily, you know, stick my pin on and go, oh, as soon as he's played well, he's my Biznaga. But you can't get away from Roberto in this game. You know what I mean? He scored twice. He was busy. He was everywhere. He was causing chaos. He was the perfect centre forward for this match, in my opinion. And you know, he's really hitting a rich vein of form at the right time for Malaga. Which is not also good because obviously we're the only game on telly at the minute, which means he's getting lots of lookers and lots of interest. So,
oh yeah, if he's gonna go, isn't it? Let's get him in the second division and get a bit more money for him, maybe.
Yeah.
The only other I know we've pretty much named the whole team there, but I don't know if it was because of his new hair. I thought Danny Lorenzo was good as well. I
thought he ticked over quite nicely with Genaro in there as well. You know, again, providing that bridge between the Manu Molina and Roberto. I thought, again, we've seen Danny Lorenzo do that a lot this season, where he's been, you know, quintessentially a second striker behind Roberto and you know, been able to supply him. But we've not seen it a lot in the last couple of months, probably since he broke his hand. But in this game, it was the closest it's been to having that Danny Lorenzo back, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And but like I said, I have many years ago, I read the book Soccernomics, and there's a whole bit in that about scouts notice blonde players more and think they're better than they are. So I wasn't sure if it was just because he's gone blonde. But
Godoy being a prime example here, or the blonde dynamo from last year. We've obviously not heard much of Fran Villalba this season. I don't know if he got playing for
Gijon, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if obviously they were in the playoff picture this year, but I don't know if they were. I don't know if he played loads.
Yeah, or me actually, but you know, if we do it, come back, Fran. I love Fran.
We miss you. It
was fun. But yeah, a good replacement when Danny Lorenzo goes to Real Sociedad or something like that. Yeah, sorry, I should just to put a confirm my Biznaga's Roberto. Just in case you hadn't guessed that. So yeah, we've had a few days to digest that result and that evening, and now we're looking ahead to the second leg. I'd say there's been a quite quiet week in regards to news, but I guess we've got to mention. I've learned a new word this week, sobornos, which is the Spanish word for bribes. I've learned the bribes from Altani, as the Peña are calling it. So I think it was Sunday night. I think the sort of Peñas released their statement, or was it Monday?
Sunday going into Monday, yeah.
So The Altani family, I've heard it sounded like it was his son's name was mentioned a bit, Nasser, offering to pay for Malaga fans travel up to Tarragona this Saturday. Well, I'm guessing the Peña buses, etc. And the Peñas, Benamiel, Come Pipas, and one of the other ones, forgive me, I can't remember which one. They released a statement saying that, I think I even wrote it down here somewhere. We publicly make known our most absolute rejection of the offer to pay the entire cost of the trip to Tarragona via Inma Serrano as a bribe for reconciliation with the fans by the Altani family. Yes, it was made very strong that it was not on.
No, and they kept popping up as well, and it was just one by one, and the fact that we're sharing the messages as well. And I won't say the name of the individual who was the that was partaking in that, was the intermediary for that. But
I have.
Oh yeah, are you going to go for it?
It wasn't my words. I was reading out the statement.
Anyway. But no, like you say, when Altani's got these proxies out there that are doing this, and you get this unified, especially initially, because it was each Peña talking for themselves, wasn't it? But it was one by one by one. There wasn't a single chink in the chain, and they all unanimously rejected that. And then I think the Federation of Peñas then came out and said, "Look, there's not a chance in this." But the one thing I also took from it as well is they all had the same back message as well. So it wasn't just a rejection of the offer. It was, if you really want to do something for Malaga, sell up. That was the big sort of fuck you at the end of it, wasn't it? So
fuck off, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, basically. And and we had it as well in terms of like that person came to us and said, Altani's not made an offer. I'm like, it kind of, again, it agrees me, because it's making it sound like everyone that was saying that, whether it was us, whether it was the newspapers, whether it was the Peñas saying, oh, Altani's not made an offer. Do you think we're stupid? Do you know what I mean? You can paint it however which way you want. It's been offered by someone with that surname, but ultimately that money comes from the president of the club at the moment.
Yeah,
who is quite clearly trying to buy the affections of the fan base again. So, really happy just for everyone to tell him to piss off and to shove his money up his arse.
Yes, I'll just add quickly the other two Peñas were Super Basti and Peña Malaguista de Alameda. I couldn't remember what the other two were. But yeah, like you said, it was great to see solidarity amongst our fans, which has been the story of the season mostly. Very sadly, there's only 538 is a random number, isn't it? Away tickets.
538. 538. It's a sign.
Oh, it's
a sign.
I've just thrown that number out there. If that is right, oh my god, it's like that that mad thing Matt Letitia did with the man with the numbers. Did you listen to that?
Oh yeah.
It's a bit like no, it's 528. Sorry. We're doomed.
It's not a sign.
Anyway, but yeah, like there's the Peñas are going. I believe they've done the sorteo today, like the draw for the other 200, 150 tickets. So congratulations to anyone that's got them that way, because I can imagine there's been a lot of demand. Can
I just mention something here right now in the podcast? It was about 13 minutes past 8 Greenwich Mean Time when Matt Harrison said to me, I'm going into Malaga. I'm going to sit and watch it in with the Malaga fans. It might be a screen. I might go sit in a pub. Categorically, I am not going to Tarragona. I've got something on Friday night.
Yeah.
So I'm busy Friday night, so I'm not going to Tarragona. Where are you going on Saturday, Matt?
Might be going to Tarragona.
It was inevitable.
Oh yeah, but it was sort of an intervention of fate. Like there was just to clarify, like I wasn't going because I've got a school event until 10 o'clock Friday night, and all the Peña buses are leaving Friday night. So I wouldn't be able to get to Malaga in time to get the Peña buses, and then I was my route to get a ticket. And I messaged, oh, that was it. Sorry. I messaged Miguel the night before and asked, when are the buses going? As long as they're not before, I think I said, as long as they're before, sorry, after 11 p.m., I should be fine. He said, oh, sorry, mate, they're 10 p.m. And then he went, but there is a car. There is a secret car, which I am going in with other Pena members Saturday morning up to Tarragona. So if I sound quite and feel a bit ill now, I think this might be the thing that kills me off. But yes, I am going to Tarragona. You asked me, am I looking forward to it earlier? I don't know if I am really at the moment. It's sort of the game is obviously a tense game. I'm not, like usual away trips. I'm not really going to have that much time to explore the city. Luckily, I've been to Tarragona before, so I know what I'm getting there. But yeah, once you get about an hour away from Tarragona in that car, I'm sure I'll be very excited.
Yeah, if you want the usual spiel from Vamos A, go back to last season when I think when was it that you went to Villarreal Bay, wasn't it? And then you went from Andorra to Villarreal Bay via Tarragona. So if you want to know more about Tarragona itself, go listen to that one.
And listen to the bit where the crazy man in the pub that kept saying how much he loved Melilla. I was asking, what do you think of Malaga? And he kept talking to me about Melilla.
But such are you now woven into the fabric, Matt, that you are now being offered lifts across Spain in the car. It takes something for me to get a lift off somebody. Because I know the gentleman a little bit, but like it takes something for me to get in a car to go from Blackpool.
He wasn't the one that offered me a lift. It was someone else saying, "I know a guy Jorge," and I was like, "Oh, is he a lawyer?" And he was like, "Yeah." "Oh, I met that guy in Ceuta. Nice man." There's no, as far as I'm aware, no English in the car, so I'm gonna have a very, very long Spanish lesson Saturday as well. So
just tranquilo.
Yeah, all the way. Yeah, and I'm getting the bus back. But like you said, the other option for people, I believe our very own Chris Marquez is attending this. There's a big screen in Malaga at Cortillo de Torres, one of the sort of auditoriums near the, like, I don't know what you call it, like the expo center place. It's going to be bar and DJ and food. I think that would be brilliant, actually, by the way. I do think that would be really good fun. You can have 12,000 people in that arena, so I don't know if they're going to sell 12,000, but
yeah, I think you said it to me at the time. You're like, there's one thing to be obviously in the away end, but if there's only going to be 500 odd of you, plus other smatterings, because I know, like, for example, Luke's flying out to Tarragona. I think a couple of other members of the Giri army are going out there, but obviously they're going to either... The choices were, and Luke was very clear in explaining this to me. He isn't going to sit on the hard shoulder of the A7 and watch from the hill above the stadium.
Just become known as the hill all week. I've seen on all like the Facebook groups. Oh, we go to the hill.
Yeah, the Northampton away of Spanish football is Nastic, but I think they're going to find somewhere in Salou or this is the Giri army are going to Salou and going to watch it in a bar or something, aren't they? So
yeah, that'd be nice.
Plenty of excitement.
Yeah, I've not been to Salou. To be honest with you, Nick, my next question is, what have we learned about Tarragona? But I think we've sort of answered that. They're quite organised and a bit, not a bit. They are bastards, yeah.
Quote Sean Bean, they are bastards.
Yeah. And again, like I was talking earlier, I sort of alluded to it, that they've been sort of being shit houses after the game as well. They've done this whole... they've released like these statements, like their president I've got it written down here. We expect a referee like the one Malaga has had. I really didn't get what he was going for. I think I didn't know, like, the ref didn't give us those 2 penalties, but I didn't notice anything for them too much.
They were animated, weren't they, throughout the game, whether it was protesting or whether it was, with some of the gestating that they did in the previous game. They even had a player sent off from the bench, I think it was, in like the last minute or something like that. So, they're clearly a passionate team, but passion can be placed in better ways than what they're showing. And again, it's something that concerns me ahead of this game, seeing sort of some of the horrible stuff from before the game, in Tarragona, the fans attacking Ceuta's bus, for example. So, we've got to be wary of that sort of intimidation potentially.
They hurt. They hurt Kevin.
If they hurt Kevin, you'll have to deal with Matt, and he's on his way in a car. He's in the back of a Nissan Micra, and he's going to come get you.
Actually, might be a Nissan.
That'd be weird if it was.
Mentioned that was a Micra. Sorry.
No, but even in the stadium as well, this is looking like it's going to be a sellout from a Nastic's perspective. So a chance for them to make it a similar cauldron to La Rosaleda, obviously half the size, but they're allowed people. I just hope there isn't the I think it was the stadium announcer at half time in the Ceuta game with some racist expletives. So we could rather do without that as well this time.
So the big news here is I'm confirming I'm going a Seat Leon. Do you want to hear some of the puns used in the WhatsApp group? So it started with someone saying, let's call it the Tarragona Mobile. I intervened with the Carragona, which then turned into Tarasco Mobile, Tarasco Netta. We like the Netta.
Tarasco Netta.
Well, I think we can. I don't know what's going to go there. But yeah,
I think, I know it's not your car, but considering that you're going to the extreme lengths, I think it should be called the Matmobile.
Yeah, well, it's being rented, by the way. Like, it's being driven up to Tarragona and being left in Tarragona. This is mad for these guys.
How are you getting back then?
On the bus. I've paid for the Pena bus, but I've paid for it like both ways, but I'm going one way.
Fair enough. This is dedication, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. It is. I'm going to be honest with you. I was going to play it down, but no, it is. Having followed all these plans, God, I'm knackered. It is. And we should add, you said about them being nasty, etc. We talked about their team a bit in the first leg. Of course, their manager wasn't there either. He was suspended. Their 32-year-old manager, which is I forgot his name. Is it Vidal? I think Danny Vidal, maybe. I'm sure it's Vidal, but
it is Danny Vidal. Yes, yeah.
But yes, and obviously
that's horrible.
Yeah,
getting to that age now. Brighton have just employed a 31-year-old manager, and I think now because I'm older than these people, kind of puts into your own successes, doesn't it?
Well, I've said already that you guys have sort of been we're battering David Ferreira when we signed him. Like, oh, he's old. We can't have this guy. There's a month between me and him. But yeah, it is starting to get silly, these young managers. And of course, we should add, just with the Tarragona stuff, they are obviously doing their own Recibimiento, and I'm pretty sure that place is going to be bouncing on Saturday too, probably quite intimidatingly so for us little 500 in the corner. But an experience.
Let's call a spade, and I don't want to red rag to a bull here, but Nastic fans.
Nasty.
Not that they're nasty. They're not actually Nastic fans. Do you know what I mean? Like this is very much a second fiddle club to the obvious big club in the area. This is why they struggle to get people in all season. This is obviously people wagon hopping and coming to that. And I'm not going to say that Malaga weren't the same, because there was an extra 7,000 people that weren't there all season potentially for Malaga. But I think it's not going to be as good as a Recibimiento that Malaga did. Not by a stretch.
Okay, well, I'll give you. Well, if I see it happen, I'll stand way back. But if I do, I will give you my review. Just quickly, then, just to perhaps start wrapping things up. Any changes in the team for you? Because I'm just going to say here, nope.
No, I think the only one that could possibly happen is Monte coming in for Juande, but I think they're very interchangeable. And I think you get the best out of both of them in this game as well. It's a final 90 minutes, a chance for everybody to put their body on the line and do what needs to be done. We're going in with a goal advantage. Obviously, the trip up is if they were to go 1-0 and take it to extra time, we then lose the initiative, because just if anyone needs a reminder, after 120 minutes, if it's still a draw, the highest placed team gets promoted. And in this case, it would be Gymnastic de Tarragona that goes up to Segunda, not Malaga. However, I don't see that being the case.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny you say about Monte and Juande being interchangeable. That, like, before the game, I realized I look at the attacking players and sort of I go, oh, so and so's playing, and yeah, I was like, oh, Monte and Einar are playing, and then I was like, oh no, it's Juande, and then I was like, oh no, I was right the first time, Monte's playing, but obviously they got subbed on. It was so they are, I wouldn't worry about either of those. There's no one really else that I could think of. Puga and Joaquin, again, I could swap around, but I thought Joaquin was fine.
Picture this. It's the 90th minute. We've got a corner. And who is getting his head to this corner? The one and only Aviles. Didn't he just raise the roof? And he actually does something with his time with us in the second half of the season.
Yeah, that would be... Yeah, to be honest with you, I'd sort of forgotten about him until I saw him looking quite handsome on Instagram yesterday. But yeah, it's...
Or Juan Hernandez. Take your pick.
Yeah, to rifle one in. I again forgot about him too. Yeah, so I guess, I don't know, I think you might have just answered my final question. On the agenda, I've just written the last word, confident, question mark.
Yes, absolutely. I think Malaga have got it in them to go to Nastic and get a result. Performances on the road this season of overall, you've seen a lot more of them up close than I have. They've been pretty positive on the whole. Obviously, a few exceptions to that rule, but I think if we can come out with here, obviously minimum requirement is a draw, then we could be quite confident of returning to Segunda at the first time of asking.
Yeah, I that's sort of what I've been telling myself all week. It's just a draw. It's just a draw. I think my big, it sounds a really obvious thing to say. If we concede early is my worry. That's where. But
we've shown that we can come back from that. We did the same in Vigo. We've done the same at home twice. Once. But also, come back quickly when we have conceded. So,
San Fernando, we did come back quite quickly again from our goalie. But they all count.
Exactly. So, confidence. Yeah. Believe. If I have one of those Ted Lasso signs above me, it'd be believe.
I need last time I had this wobble, I needed Chris Marquez to be here to promise me a big hug at the end. So I'll have to come home via Malaga, maybe. Yeah, it's going to be pretty wild in there. We just need to keep a cool head, I think, don't we?
Well, I shall promise you this, Matt Harrison. If Malaga get promoted on Saturday, I will be getting you all a bottle of Pacharan for home as a celebration. That is my thank you for a great season of work from all of us involved. And when I say all of us, I just mean like the people on the podcast. So, sorry to all your listeners at home, but I ain't sending everybody a bottle of Pacharan. I haven't got that kind of money.
Okay, I look forward to it. There you go. I look forward to it. There's the confidence is coming there. Yeah, we'll let you buy the Pacharan in Spain for us, where it's about half the price, I think. But yeah, is there anything else we need to cover this playoff? I think we've got it all covered.
Pretty much, we've got people dotted all around Europe, literally, for this one. So on Saturday, obviously, Matt, you're going to be in the stadium at Tarragona. Luke's going to be in Tarragona or Tarragona adjacent. Chris is going to be in the amphitheatre watching it there. And me and Alex, as all season, we thought we can't end this season without doing one last live stream. So Saturday night, come join us. We're even going to hop on maybe half an hour, 20 minutes before, do a bit of a Soccer Saturday type feel to it. We might even link to Matt Harrison if he's available. We'll link to Chris. We'll link to Luke. We'll have a chat with everybody. But if you come and join the celebration, hopefully Malaga can bring it home and secure promotion back to Segunda, and we can have a little little party on Saturday night. We'll get the Victorias in and we'll go from there.
I've just realised I should be bringing out a range of T-shirts. I've got so many catchphrases this year now because the other one is "I can't hear you, but I'll speak anyway." That one, we got Tranquilo, we got Points being patched around. So I'm like a sitcom character. Yeah, just quickly before I forget as well, because definitely going if you can't watch the game, or you can watch the game, watch it along with the lads, because I wasn't sure if you were doing the live stream. But the other thing I've got to plug is by the time you listen to this, it should be out on the Thursday the 20th of June, the Glory to Grit documentary, which Alex's friends up in Madrid have done about Malaga's Champions League days and the fall to where we are now. It's going to be 3 episodes. I think they've told me the first 2 episodes are coming out this week. The third one's coming out mid-July. Apparently the third one is quite Matt Harrison strong. So I won't be watching the first 2, but I am joking. Of course I will.
I ain't watching any of them. I'm not in any of them, so I ain't watching any of them. No, I'm not joking. I look forward to watching anything Malaga based.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer. The trailer looks good. It's just I do feature in the trailer. I say 4 words. I don't know if you saw my appearance in the trailer. I go, big club, big fan base.
Alex Ashmore claiming it's one of the best trailers that he's seen, which is quite high acclaim, isn't it?
Yeah. But I sound like I'm some sort of I don't know, mafia boss, when actually I'm a man that's had 4 pints in Torremolinos before recording that. I was quite impressed how sort of serious I sounded. I was like, oh, I must have upped my game. Anyway, maybe they can do a sequel next year called Glory to Grit to a little more glory, because it's fair to say it's not quite glory getting back in the second division.
Un poco glory.
Un poco glory. Oh, I like that. I think it might be Gloria Dad, but it's okay. Un poco glory sounds nicer. Yeah, I will say thank you, Nick Bell.
Thank you very much, Matt. This isn't going to be our last pod of the season, but it's the last game preview / chatting shit about Malaga and Nastic season. Thank you so much for your contributions this year. It's been brilliant once again to have a full another season of the Geary Cast. And thanks to everybody at home who has supported us. I think this has been probably the best year, Matt, would you say? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And every sort of way I could say about Malaga for me personally, but we'll see like you said, let's not do our final bows here yet. We do have one final sort of review and maybe end of season awards show. Be nice to do that this time after we cancelled them in disgust last year at how bad Malaga were. So it'll be nice to do that again. Start thinking about your Biznagas of the season and goals of the season and young players of the season, etc.
And there might be a surprise around that as well, but we're not yet to confirm. More to be revealed on that front, isn't there? But yeah.
Is there?
Oh, there will be. I'll bring you. I'll bring you back into loop, Matt. But I don't want to commit to too much at the moment. But we'll see. We'll see.
I can't believe you've got Kevin to join us. That's amazing.
What a present.
Right. Anyway, thank you, Nick. Thank you guys for listening this evening. Or this morning, or this afternoon, or whenever you're listening. Thank you. Tell a friend about us, share it, etc. Lo vamos a hacer, as they say at the moment. Si se puede, vamos Malaga. All the slogans. Come on, Malaga. Adios. Vamos Malaga.
Vamos! Bravo!